Hello, everyone. Welcome to Game Junk Prototype Episode 9, coming at you on April 24th, 2020. My name is Frank.
My name's Sean.
And my name's Andrew.
Well, another week in quarantine land, and the video game news landscape is as barren as ever. Not a lot to talk about. We'll, hit a few random topics to start off the show and talk a bit about what we've been playing. Let's start off with major revelations. Huge. Just came out today. I didn't even hear about it. New Xbox One Series X logo has leaked. And I just took a look at it. Earth-shattering. What do you guys think?
I have absolutely nothing to say about it. Not that great.
I would say it looks perfectly fine. It looks like a good evolution of the Xbox logo to me.
It is an X. I'm trying to think if there's any clever use of negative space with the gaps in the X, or could it be hinting towards anything in the console's future? And I don't think so. I don't think it does. I think it's pretty bland, not blowing me away. But
now, if you compare it to the
that's
PS5
how
logo,
starved we are. Is there an official PS5 logo?
there is.
Like the one that's just the same font with a 5?
Yeah, exact same. So they didn't change anything.
Yeah, I mean,
At least Xbox is trying something new here.
but that
Come
logo
on.
was established on the PS3, really.
Yeah, that's true.
On the PS3 Slim, I believe. So, yeah, I don't give a shit. I usually am into logos and stuff like that, but everyone's so afraid to take risks on this stuff nowadays that it gets really boring. I kind of miss the days when people would try to make a huge splash with the look of the console, the controllers, the logos. And that's, this is such big business that people don't want to take risks anymore. Nintendo still is pretty good for taking risks with at least console ideas and design, but these other things are just branded PCs, so who gives a shit?
I mean, it was either that or the Elijah Wood Animal Crossing story to lead things off. So
I refuse to talk about that, and I will edit it out.
Sean is desperate to talk about that. That's like the 10th time he's brought it up in the 2 minutes of pre-show.
He has brought it up a lot. It's kind of what's going on there.
I'm bringing it up as an example of how barren the news landscape is. As you said, Frank, not a lot to talk about, although we are hoping there will be a discussion about launch games soon for next-gen consoles.
Yeah, maybe we'll dip into, I mean, it might not even be that exciting what the launch games will be, because I'll give you my predictions now. Nothing. There will be no new launch games for either console, other than upscaled, up-resed, higher quality texture versions of existing games. So that's my prediction, but I hope I'm proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. What do you guys think? Do you guys think they're going to drop a megaton with any of these consoles?
Well, I mean, I'm still hoping that the next Batman Arkham game, whatever the heck that is going to be, will be a next gen title. I mean, I can't see it being current gen. They haven't announced it yet. So
But that would be exclusive, right?
Right, that's true.
My only thought, this is a weird random thought I just had. Hear me out. What if Microsoft launched a multiplayer version of Halo that's next gen? So, start small, maybe even make it free with Xbox Live and Game Pass, and, have new maps. Probably they've been building this infrastructure with the Master Chief Collection of getting all the old maps in one place. They've got a lot of stuff going there with 343. Halo is a driver. So I could see something like that happening. Not the single player, but a multiplayer suite with some next-gen graphics and to get some Halo exposure or something new out with the new console. And maybe the console will feature some interesting social and online capabilities that something like that would showcase. That is a random speculative thought. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we do know that Halo Infinite is coming. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I mean, could that be a launch title? I mean, they kind of said that there wasn't going to be an exclusive title to begin with, so I guess not. But I mean, they've already done the remasters, so it can't really just be a remaster. I agree with you. They'd have to do something where it's like some new multiplayer mode or something like that.
Well, I would think just visually. So take a bunch of maps that are already well known and designed for Halo, right? Put artists on them, use the power of the X series, make the game look amazing using standard Halo gameplay, which everyone loves, and possibly new maps with that feature the graphics and maybe a new mechanic or something like that. At least it's something. I would think that would not be that hard to do.
I think they're trying to go away from that, though. Weren't they talking about how they've got all this technology to like auto up-res everything to like 4K and stuff with the X?
Well,
and
I think that's more for back compatibility. I still think in terms of like what do launch titles do, right? Typically they showcase the power of a console, right? And just up-resing isn't going to do that. So I'm just trying to think of easy wins for featuring graphics. Like that's all it would be. And you don't have to worry about breaking design or functionality. I mean, this is a nonsense made up thing in a vacuum that I'm doing here, but you know what? I like the idea. They should probably steal it and do it.
Now, there was some news about Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Did you guys hear about this?
Whoa, Sean, why didn't you bring this up before?
Well,
I saw the brief rumor.
It's still kind of at the rumor stage. I don't know if there's anything official yet, but I mean, they're saying that it's a PS5 title, which seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a launch title. I don't see how that would be possible. But yeah, they're saying, co-op mode, there'll be some sort of co-op mode and that it's going to be part of a trilogy. I mean, not a ton to talk about there, but
yeah, I mean,
something
I'd
exciting.
Expect they were working on a Zero Dawn sequel and it would be for PlayStation 5. If it did somehow launch with the console, that's a game changer, a mild game changer for that console, and I'm in. But yeah, I guess we'll see. That would be cool. Not going to happen. There was some more news surrounding that, like the PC version of Horizon Zero Dawn and whether Sony's going, multi-platform, at least to PC. And that was a sure thing. And now it's scaled back a bit. Death Stranding PC got delayed. So I don't know what's going on there. If there's like where there's smoke, there's fire idea, maybe some kind of PC integration trying to at least compete or match what Xbox is doing with Play Anywhere, maybe in their future, and the idea of eventually getting to a streaming service future rather than hardware. But
I think I was just going to say, I think Sony bringing those games to PC is a really smart play because, I mean, those games, not really Death Stranding, but Horizon. And I think there was talk of bringing one other Sony title, but I could be wrong.
No, I can't remember which one.
Yeah, but I mean, those games are like 3-4 years old now. So if you bring those to PC, you're essentially exposing a game which has basically done all it can do on your platform to potentially a brand new audience, which will either get you a ton of sales and possibly convince people to buy a PlayStation 5 that would not have to play those, because I'm sure there are still a ton of players that are just PC only players out there that have never tried Sony exclusive games. And I think if they got a taste, they might be tempted to jump ship and buy a console. So hopefully they keep doing it. Hopefully like those rumors are true. that they are going to still put those out on PC.
Well,
So
I would say Horizon Zero Dawn. It's close, but I would say it's the best game I've ever played. I think, and that would be huge. The sooner I get Horizon Zero Dawn 2, the happier I will be. I know it was tight between that and Neo, but Neo 2 came out and I was burned out on Sekiro and I didn't even play Neo 2 yet. So I got to give the edge to Horizon.
now, one other thing I just wanted to mention, like with all the delays that are happening right now, assuming that the next gen consoles still launch this year, which is kind of up in the air, but like, is it possible we could see some games that were going to launch on current gen, but also be upgraded for next gen, just launch on next gen? Like, could that happen, do you think?
No,
No?
I do not. I assume you're referring to Last of Us 2 or Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yeah, something like that. I guess they would just lose way too much sales from that.
I don't even think that. I think it's more gamer uproar if that happened. And even companies that I would have expected to do that, specifically Nintendo, always maintain their promises of like Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild launching for the previous consoles that they were promised for, even though they probably weren't the ideal experience. Now, I'm not saying that it isn't, they're not developing both of those games to be the ideal experience on PlayStation 5. And have always had that in the back burner, knowing that that's truly what they're intended for. But I think they will be compatible whenever they ship with PlayStation 4, guaranteed.
And
That it might happen and get delayed to the point where when the PS5 launches, it's launching on both consoles, PS4 and PS5, like those Zelda games. But I think they'll come out on both for sure.
And I don't think we touched on it last show, but I think Sony announced that they are going to have limited supplies of the PS5 when they come out because of part availability and stuff like that. So it would be smart of them to ensure that the games are still on the old platforms in case people can't get the new ones. They can still buy at full price and get, the maximum 30%. Well, I guess they get 100% on the first parties, but, plus the 30% for any other games that might not, like, of people who want to buy a new game but can't get the new console and still would buy it on the PS4. So I think I can't see any games going pure next gen exclusive, especially if there's going to be supply shortages. And, with the economy how it is, people may not have the money to buy these. So, but you might have the money to buy a game, just not a console and a game. So I think them going exclusive actually is not a smart play for anyone right now, even if you're a first party.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the next gen news for this week. Hopefully, we get something coming up soon. Let's do a random junk mail question from Scott Kirkman. Hey guys, I was hoping that you could give me some online PS4 game recommendations to play with a group of friends. We're getting burnt out on Warzone and thinking of mixing it up with some party style games. We've talked a bit about this in the past. It's been a while. Any recommendations from you gentlemen?
Well, I've got a few here. I mean, it kind of, it depends what you qualify as a party game. Because to me, like, there's co-op games, but they might not be a party game. Like, I think a party game is more like a multiplayer thing, something that mini games, something that's easy to pick up and play that you don't necessarily have to be a hardcore gamer to get into. So those would be, I mean, the obvious one that I'm sure everyone would recommend, especially given the times that we're in, would be the Jackbox party packs. I've actually played a few of these with some coworkers a couple times now, just as like a little lunchtime social get together thing, and they've worked out quite well for that. There's the Overcooked games, which I'm sure we've talked about before.
Now, we were definitely, at least I was, way ahead of the game with Jackbox. I remember talking about Jackbox 1 and saying, I can't believe this isn't the most popular thing. Like, no one talks about this game. And since then, it has definitely exploded in popularity and slowly traveled to a casual market, I would say. Like, all my friends and other people that aren't gamers have talked about this to me in some capacity. The only reason I bring that up, Overcooked, and I'm not going to say I was, a pioneer talking about Overcooked. Everyone was talking about Overcooked. But I'm surprised. I have like kind of random people that know I'm into video games text me, oh, what do you think about this Overcooked game? We played it on the weekend. It's really good. And Overcooked is definitely becoming pretty mainstream. And I'll even admit it, part of it is because of the Switch. It's very popular on the Switch and stuff like that. But and families have a Switch. So that's definitely that game has taken off to a level I did not anticipate it happening.
I'll throw out also on the topic of Overcooked. Apparently, there's a game coming out next week that's been getting a lot of comparisons to it. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's called No, it's called Moving Out. And apparently,
oh yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah,
you have to carry furniture, oddly sized furniture, and fit them through doorways and stuff. And it's a co-op game.
Coordinating moving things. I'm assuming there's a Tetris-like aspect to moving that people talk about with putting things in the van and stuff like that. And it sounds like an intriguing concept. It sounds like it should work in the vein of something like Overcooked. I believe it's launching on Stadia. I don't know if it's launching on other consoles as well, but I got an email from Stadia with a trailer for that game. So I definitely won't be playing it on Stadia.
Looks like Switch and PS4 definitely as well.
Okay, cool.
I'm assuming probably all of them.
Yeah, we're going to have to check this out, I think.
Yeah, could be fun.
What do you got over there, Huck City?
Well, I was just thinking, if you want more kind of stuff similar to Warzone, you could go with like Borderlands, which is always a fun time. I was just looking around. Castle Crashers Remastered on PS4 is out. I'm pretty sure that's online. And then you could always go with the old faithfuls, the sports games. Madden's not really great for like a party, but NHL, FIFA, and NBA are all kind of perfect for sort of getting a team together and then playing the computer or other people online or each other.
The free-for-all modes or the arcadey modes in NHL are a lot of fun too, in groups.
Yeah.
Some other ones. This was more of a launch title. I wasn't that crazy about it, but I know people like it. Towerfall Ascension.
Can you play that online though? That might be local only.
Yeah, you might be right. I guess, yeah, it is online. I'm sorry. It's not just co-op games. Is Overcooked online? I'm not even sure if that works online.
I think so. Let me double check.
Could always do that game from EA that came out. If you're looking for something more story, A Way Out.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-player co-op-y story game. I don't think it's that great. I haven't played it yet, but I mean, it's something. I know it's on EA Access on Xbox One, although this obviously you don't have. Or does PS4 now have EA Access?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's on EA Access if you want to just drop like whatever it is, $5 for a month and then give it a try.
Looks like Overcooked 2 has online at least. I'm not sure about 1.
Is Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time online? You had mentioned that before, Sean.
I believe it is as well.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I'm not sure about. I never was crazy about this game, but I know at Pixel Knots they loved it and played it constantly. Duck game.
Okay.
It was never my cup of tea.
Don't know too much about that one.
That might be local only.
Did we mention
it does have online.
Gang Beasts? I think you talked about that one a while back, Frank.
Yeah, that's another game that I'm not that crazy about, but
okay. It's just kind of like it's a fighting game, but very cartoony and like more physics based from what I've seen. Haven't really played it myself. And did we mention Rocket League? I mean, that's a classic.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then
together, that's a really good idea, actually.
The sports game for non-sports gamers.
Yeah. Again, easy to pick up and play, but like a ton of finesse to, build over time. And then Super Bomberman and Super Monkey Ball. I don't know what the latest versions of those games are on PS4, but those are always kind of good party game franchises.
Yeah, I'd be curious to go back and play Monkey Ball. We played it a ton in university, especially like the one ramp landing game, the Target one, where it was almost like ski jumping and then glide. But I wonder how they would control now. I remember getting after Monkey Ball 2, they were not that great, but you never know. Maybe I should look into it again.
Check it out.
All right. There's your multiplayer games. Sorry if some aren't online and you waste your money buying them. Please do a little like we should have. All right. Might as well get into what we played. Although before we do that, Huck, there was one other story you wanted to touch on, or?
Oh, the Jason Schreier thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure, I can follow with that. I said last week that he's leaving Kotaku, and it turns out that he's going to Bloomberg News to do video games and other sort of like, I guess, social type stuff. But I found it kind of funny because he's kind of started to put most of his news coverage towards like pro-union, anti-corporation, and he leaves Kotaku to go to an even bigger corporation in Bloomberg, which I just found kind of interesting that he would make that choice. But they must have thrown him enough money to make it worth his while. You know what I'm saying? Cha-ching, ka-ching.
Like $1 Million Man says, everybody.
Money talks. Money talks. Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about what we played a bit. Maybe I'll start this one off. I had finished off Jedi Fallen Order last week. I talked about that. And from there, I went to finally finish, even though I'd started a while ago, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. And I had played before. I remember liking what I had played. I still thought the game was okay, but as it continued, I liked the game less and less. It became pretty repetitive. It looks great. The combat I actually like, although I don't like the way it's do a bunch of exploring for a half an hour and then do combat for 5 minutes. And it's not really integrated into the exploration. It's just kind of a huge phase of puzzle solving and then a small phase of combat. And, while I liked the combat, I didn't like the going back and forth. So, what's the word?
Abruptly,
yeah. Like it would just happen. And okay, now I'm done with combat for a while and I don't have to worry about it. And I got sick of it while I was doing it. They would just throw you 20 enemies at once and then you didn't see another enemy for a while. I wish it was more intermixed. And towards the end of the game, the design really got on my nerves with a couple boss fights, in particular, a big boss fight in the dark, where part of the mechanic is you have to be in the light. I hate in the light mechanics, as I said in Ori as well. And this one is so infuriating because there's no source for the light. You don't know where you are in the 3D space and how to get back into the light. Once you can't see where you are, I don't know what direction I need to dodge. I don't know where I even have to go to get back into the light. There's no hint of it whatsoever. And I really hate arguments online and some stuff I've seen where it's like, oh, that's the whole point. You're supposed to feel the frustration of the character and this, it's about psychosis and all this stuff. And I'm not buying that whatsoever. It's fine. It could have been fixed with a few small things. And they also, in that boss fight, apparently there's a charging of the sword, and those attacks are the only thing that really damage the boss. And I had no idea, based on what I'd done in the game, that I needed to do that. I was fighting this boss for 15 minutes, and nothing was happening. And I'm like, I'm going to break this fucking game in half. And no, it's difficult. Just something I say while I'm playing. I might have said
I'm glad.
5 times. And then I had to look online. I have to do charge attacks. And so it's like, yep, once you do charge attacks, it takes 2 seconds. And sure enough, it did. This game did not teach me that whatsoever. You failed to teach me your mechanic. Not my problem, your problem. I play a lot of games. I'm willing to admit when it's my fault. You failed. And of course, the big thing with this game was the storytelling and being about,
Mental illness.
Anxiety and mental illness. And again, it feels like a complete cop-out to me. I don't think that's... And if that's what it is about, the ending is really troubling to me, and it doesn't make sense at all. It wants to be about that, but also be like this mythology game. I think it's mixing its metaphors. It's okay as far as storytelling goes, but it feels a bit like a free pass game to me. And while overall I liked it, it does not deserve the praise it's gotten. And I prefer Ninja Theory's other games more. I like Enslaved more. I like Heavenly Sword from what I remember more. And I think it is a pretty, for a smaller studio, the graphical achievement, and that is impressive. I think it is is a AA game, so to speak, that there aren't many of. I do appreciate it on that level, but I still was very frustrated by it at times. So definitely in the realm of Control to me, where these games seem to be being praised, and it was nominated for a ton of awards as well. And I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
I'm glad you felt that way, because I played that, I don't know, a few months ago when it first came to Game Pass, and I had the same feeling. Like, it looks great. The character models were incredible from what I remember, but the combat seemed to, like you said, be few and far between. It didn't really evolve in any way that I could tell.
Well, it did. Was just, I didn't even know it evolved because my old stuff still worked anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't
saying like whatever the enemy feedback or how they wanted to evolve it wasn't even necessary. And I'll tell you something else that really pissed me off. And this is a spoiler. Okay. And lots of articles have been written. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, you can
skip
fast
ahead.
forward a minute. But the game introduces this mechanic where every time you die, this black curse is kind of going up your arm. Okay. And in the game, it says, if it reaches your head or something like that, your game is over. Your journey ends. Like permadeath is what the game insinuates. And I'm dying in, I almost forgot, these terribly designed sections where you're being chased by this fire in a maze. And you're just like running and looking for things in a maze. It's terrible. And I'm dying like 50 times. And I'm like, is this game going to end on me? Am I going to have to start over because of this bullshit part of the game? So I look it up online and like, no, they just do that to give you the feeling of anxiety, like similar to the main character. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is bullshit. And then everyone's like, well, I think it's genius. And you don't get it. It's amazing. It totally works, and everyone's just lying to a player that their game's going to be erased, and it really pissed me off.
That's funny, 'cause that part really stressed me out, and I thought it was going to be like the only game I could think of that did a similar mechanic was Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, which I think is the 5th Breath of Fire game. And they had a thing where you had like your dragon powers, and it charged up a meter every time you used your dragon powers, and like from 0 to 100. And when you got to 100, you essentially turned into a dragon and like destroyed the world, and then the game was over. And that's what it reminded me of. And it was like, that was okay though, because you are in control of that. And if you choose to not use your dragon powers, then you'll have a free run to the end. But in this game, like if you're shit, I was getting punished for dying. And I think that was part of the thing that made me not want to play it anymore, because I'm like, this game is punishing me almost double
I
for
don't.
dying.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea intrinsically. It's the way it's portrayed to the player, where I have to look up online. Is this real? Like, should I be worried about this? Should I be like, I don't want to have to restart this game. That will really anger me because I just want to finish this fucking game because everyone says it's amazing and they're liars. Anyway, it was pretty good. I will never play it again. I don't think. I'm fine with that experience with Hellblade, and I'm glad it's over.
Hey Frank, do you think Microsoft should start up a new service, Xbox Free Pass?
No, the video game journalists already have that covered. And I got a little into Final Fantasy Remake. I'm at chapter 6 where Huck was last week, and I don't know what it is. It's kind of a slow game in a lot of ways, kind of like the original, but I am loving it. I don't. It might be that I just played the original, but I am loving the world building.
There's so many subtle, just little touches, little details that are fleshed out so much more than in the original. And they just take the original to the next level, and in all forms, like even little like audio flourishes that are just like little hints of what to come. And if you play the original, you know, like exactly what that audio little tune means. And it's just incredible how they like perfectly time everything in there. And I don't know, I've been playing it more as well. I'm on chapter 8. I'm almost 12 hours in and just doing the side quests in chapter 8. And I'm just taking it nice and slow, exploring everywhere, doing everything. I missed one achievement, which pissed me off, but then I found out I can go back at any time after I beat it.
Yeah,
and
which
give
one?
it another
Or the bike?
the motorbike one.
Oh yeah, had to get that one. Had to try it a few times. Had to switch to easy mode.
Yeah, I heard that's the best way to do it. So I'll just do that after and go back and easy mode it.
I actually love the darts game.
Oh yeah, crush the darts game.
I went in there just to get the trophy for that, and it's a surprisingly fun, effective mini game. I want a full darts game.
Full tournament bracket, playoffs.
It's great. Yeah, but I'm loving it.
Wasn't there some other game that had a darts game recently?
There was like what is it? VR pub or something, like where it's a bunch of games in VR and one of them had darts.
I don't know. I just feel like I've played a darts game recently somewhere.
But yeah, hopefully I finish it by next week. I would assume I will. Maybe I'll wait. I'll wait till next week to talk about another game I'm kind of playing here and there.
So you guys think you're going to do like the full review next week then maybe, or what?
Oh, definitely not.
I will
not be beating it.
I will have beaten it by next Friday, guaranteed.
Okay.
Well, I'll do my best to play more, but I highly doubt I'll be playing another 20 hours or more between now and next Friday.
Yeah, I'm kind of struggling to sit down and play any kind of major game right now. I got two quick things I'll mention. I did play a bit of Fold Apart.
Nice.
And I am liking it, actually. It's weird because when it first, the first couple puzzles, it seemed very simple to me. And I was like, this is the game? Like, how is this a game? Like, it seems so easy. But as soon as they start introducing, like, folding up and down, adding the crates in, things like that, it starts to get real complicated. Like, it's hard to wrap your head around. And I could see it maybe being frustrating for some people, but that kind of hooked me. So I was enjoying it. I mean, I don't know that the story part of it is like totally, as deep as maybe they want it to be, but I think it's decent. It does tell a story there, and I'll give him props for that. But yeah, I'm liking it.
Sean gives props.
If you do get too frustrated, you could always go into the menu. There's a puzzle hint system.
Yeah, I think I had to use it for one of them so far, but
Shane.
it is just one of those things. Even when you know, for the more complicated ones, even if you actually check the hints, and if you actually just sit there and see what the solution is, you kind of think back and you're like, how would I have figured that out? Like, it really messes with your head in a weird way. Maybe I'm just not good at the spatial stuff that's required, but
yeah,
but yeah, it's interesting. The other thing I was playing is it just came out on Game Pass, but I actually went back and was reminded that I had it on the Switch. So I was playing it on the Switch, which is Gato Roboto, which is a Metroidvania about a cat in a mech suit.
Really? It's a Metroid-inspired game?
Definitely.
Looks like Game Boy.
It's kind of monochromatic graphics. The thing, like, it's kind of good and kind of bad about it. It's a very streamlined game. Like, I found as soon as you pick it up and start playing, you kind of just get hooked into it and you keep playing. But it's not as exploratory as Metroid. Like, it seems there's a timer kind of at the bottom of the screen, so it seems like it's very much geared towards speedrunners. I think it's like maybe 3 hours long, something like that. I probably put in 2 hours. So, it's a good game for Game Pass, I guess, in that regard. But it's if you're into cat humor, you might want to check it out.
Uh-oh. I did install this on my PC, but I may have to uninstall it after hearing that.
It looks kind of.
It's pretty solid. Like, it's, the gameplay is good, and it's, you get in and out of the mech suit, so the cat can like climb up walls, but doesn't have a lot of health. And then the mech suit is where you have like more weapons and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth checking out.
Killer. Hawk, anything else for you?
Not really. I played a little more Dragon Age 2. I'm really liking that game a lot more than I thought I would. It's starting to be a little grindy though. I find it's done that thing that Mass Effect 2 did, where they're like, you have to go and save the world right away. But before you do that, do all these side quests and collect everyone in your party and take your time. And don't worry, the world will wait for you. And then, so it's kind of the same thing in Dragon Age 2. They have this big quest for you to do. It's a little better where there's not something coming to, destroy the world. You're just trying to gain enough money to go on this big giant quest. But there is just like a lot of side quests to do, and you don't really go anywhere. A lot of the quests are just sort of go from point A to point B and talk to people. There's not much combat in some of the quests, but I'm enjoying what I've played so far. The writing, the characters seem better than Dragon Age 1, and I'm hoping that by playing Dragon Age 2, I'll eventually be able to get back into Dragon Age Inquisition, which I played quite a bit of, but really had no idea what was going on the whole time I was playing that game. So I would like to get back into that game eventually and kind of have an idea of what the story is and what everything is that's going on in there again. That's about it for me.
Okay, well, I think that's it for this week, gentlemen. It's pretty dry,
yeah.
But we persevered. We made it happen. Game Junk Prototype is a thing, a weekly thing, and you better get fucking used to it. It's not going anywhere. News or no news, we don't give a shit.
Are there any major releases this week or next week?
Today was the date for Predator Hunting Grounds.
Oh, yeah, right.
I haven't seen any reviews for it yet or anything like that. I am assuming it's a gigantic piece of shit, but we'll see. If it isn't, I might check it out. I watched some videos for it yesterday, and the Predator vision and stuff like that, it looks pretty cool. I'm intrigued.
It could be amazing.
Trials of Mana came out today, which is a remake of the third Secret of Mana game. And also on the 28th, which I guess is next Tuesday, Gears Tactics comes out.
Oh,
which,
right.
Which is that sort of like XCOM style Gears game.
Is that mobile though?
No, it's Game Pass.
Oh, really?
It's PC only though, isn't it?
PC and Xbox One.
Oh, it is? Okay. I might check that out. Hey, speaking of XCOM, are either of you guys checking out that new XCOM game?
No.
That kind of just dropped and has not really made a splash from what I could tell.
Yeah, XCOM Chimera Squad, something like that.
Yeah.
Never really got into those games, but I don't know. I'm curious. It could be in the mood for a good strategy game, maybe.
I really liked the first XCOM, but didn't really like the second one, so I'm less inclined to try this one out. Also, Streets of Rage 4 comes out next week.
Yeah.
Cool.
On Thursday.
Huge. Absolutely huge. All right. I think that's it. Unless you guys have anything else you need to say.
No, you can email us gamejunkpodcast@gmail.com. Maybe we'll dip into that on a slow news week from time to time.
Definitely.
As long as no new logos are released, we'll read your junk mails. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.